Now to the presidential election in Sudan. Voting started on Monday and up to 13 million voters are expected to go to the polls over the next 3 days in the country's first presidential ballot since South Sudan seceded in 2011. The election is being boycotted by the main opposition parties. VOA's Gabe Joselow reports from Khartoum.
Sudan is beginning 3 days of voting today in general elections, although there's really no doubt about who the winner is going to be. President Omar al-Bashir is running basically uncontested as all the major opposition parties have boycotted the vote. Now, Mr. Bashir is also riding high on popular support due to improved ties in the region, but the international community is still critical of his human rights record, and human rights groups have complained about closing political space and a crackdown on civil society. Love him or hate him, the world's going to have to get ready for 5 more years of President Bashir. Gabe Joselow, VOA News, Khartoum.
And for the very latest on the first day of voting in Sudan, Gabe Joselow now joins us on the phone from Khartoum. Hello, Gabe.
Hello, how are you?
Good. More than 13 million people have registered to vote. How is the turnout so far?
The turnout has actually been pretty underwhelming. We've gone to a few polling stations today, and there have been very few lines, very few voters. We've spoken to a few supporters of President Bashir, but not very many people are coming out. One station we saw, it was all just police officers who appeared to have been bussed in for the vote. So aside from that, it's been rather quiet.
So President al-Bashir is said to win this election, given that there is no significant opposition. Clearly, he faces some challenges ahead, regardless.
Yeah, he is. You know, aside from the fact that the opposition is particularly disgruntled about the current administration, the president still faces numerous internal conflicts, including conflicts still going on in South Kordofan and Nile states with rebels near the South Sudan border, as well as the ongoing conflict in Darfur, for which the president is under International Criminal Court a warrant for his arrest for genocide crimes committed in the early 2000s. So these challenges and continued isolation from the West will continue to haunt the president going forward.
Now, after 26 years of ruling the country, what is his campaign message essentially to the voters?
Well, you know, that's the thing, is that domestically he still looks very strong. The president has made new, stronger ties in the region. If you recall the New Deal to share Nile River resources with Egypt and Ethiopia. And he's also got stronger ties with Saudi Arabia, thanks to Sudan's involvement in the Saudi-led military operations in Yemen. So these developments are sort of promising for Sudan, and they make Mr. Bashir and his administration look pretty good at home.
But you said that his administration looks pretty good at home. However, there is a low turnout. What does this tell us in terms of what the average person in the country feels about his work?
Well, I think there's just a sense of inevitability about this vote, really. So you have a lot of ambivalence from people who are either a bit tired of the government and just don't see any point in voting. And then you also have his supporters who say, well, he's going to win anyway, so what's the point in coming out? I think that's really the measure I'm getting of the polls. But clearly there are challenges he faces at home. And despite some of this sort of new surge in support and looking strong in the region, it's always going to be a tricky time for him.
Quickly, 2 more days to go. What are some expectations?
We're expecting more of the same. Today was a holiday, but people will go back to work as usual in the next coming days. I think we might even see lower voter turnout over the next 2 days than today.
Okay, Gabe, thank you so much for joining us. And that was VOA's Gabe Joselow reporting from Khartoum, Sudan.